Today we are going to learn how to make a classic gingerbread loaf. This is a really easy recipe. Preheat that oven to 350 or 180 degrees Celsius, and then we're going to gather up all our ingredients. In a large bowl we're going to need some flour, and to that we're going to add in our spices. You're going to need some baking powder and some salt. If you want to use self-rising flour, you just omit these two things. And then you're going to add in some ginger because this is a gingerbread. And then you're going to add in some cinnamon. Don't add in a lot of cinnamon. You want the ginger to shine through. The reason why we're not using fresh ginger is because when you bake things, it really tends to wash out the flavor. I typically like to use fresh ginger for cooking or glazes. The next thing we're going to do is add in some sugar. Now we want to mix all these dry ingredients together until they're well combined. This just helps the bread have a really nice even flavor throughout. You can experiment with the spices if you like. You can try some pumpkin pie spice or some allspice, nutmeg, however you like. Once you get this combined, you're going to make a small well, add in some eggs and your molasses. And if you want to make it easier to remove, you can spray the inside of your measuring cup with some nonstick spray or put the oil in first, then the molasses, because you're probably not going to use multiple measuring cups like I'm doing. What I personally do is I weigh everything and then I don't have to even use measuring cups. Next, you're going to use some oil and then you're going to put in some milk. Now, when it comes to the oil and milk, you can use any kind of oil you like. You can use any kind of milk you like. You can use canola oil, vegetable oil, coconut oil, melted butter if you like. Just make sure it equals the same amount. And for the milk, same thing. You can use fat-free or full fat. A lot of people will tell you that you have to use a full fat. I'm telling you, you can use whatever you like. You can even use coconut milk or soy milk if you have dietary restrictions. Then you're going to mix this together until it is well combined and you no longer see any lumps. You want to make sure you don't see any lumps because if you do, you will see pockets of flour when the bread is baked. This tends to happen because of the molasses. If you wanted to, you could mix this up and then add the molasses in at the last moment, which will help keep it from being so lumpy. Once you get a really nice smooth batter like this, it is time to pour it into your pan. You want a 9x5x3 loaf pan, and I like to line everything, even nonstick, with parchment paper. If you've seen some of my other videos, there's times nonstick does fail, and this just assures everything comes out well. Once you get this all poured in, then you're just going to give it a couple taps if you like to knock out some air bubbles, and then you're just going to put it in the oven for around 45 to 55 minutes or until it's fully baked. The top of it should be golden brown. It should separate slightly from the edges, and if you stick a toothpick in the middle, it will come out clean. However, you're shooting for the temperature of about 200 degrees Fahrenheit or 93 degrees Celsius. The toothpick method is a great thing. However, it doesn't tell you if you have overbaked your breads and cakes. I like to rely on temperature over the toothpick. That way you are ensuring that you have a moist and delicious bread. Once it's cooled about 10 minutes, you're just going to tip it out and then peel off that parchment paper. If you used it, flip it right side up and then let it cool completely before slicing. And this is what the bread looks like. Isn't it absolutely wonderful? I'm telling you, this tastes like a gingerbread cookie in a bread format. The dogs absolutely love it. Maggie is always a big fan of gingerbread, and so is Raymond. They only get like a little tiny piece because obviously you want to be very careful with sugar and dogs. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Here are your ingredients if you want to follow along. Thank you for visiting us at jacksonsjob.com, and as always, happy baking.